Hello, I hope you're enjoying our virtual open day. We've now come to the part of the day which is slightly interactive and you get to ask some questions. I'm joined by Zena and Ricky and they are both first years on our undergraduate degree course. We've got some questions that we've pulled together already that you've sent in, but if you do want to send some more, you can, and we'll have them sent straight to us and we can ask them straight away. So to do that, just send them via our Facebook page, The Place, or via our Twitter feed, and you can use the hashtag ThePlaceLive. The first question that we've had in already is via Twitter, and it was from London Youth Dance, and it's to both of you. Why did you choose LCDS? And what do you hope to do after you finish?
Do you want to go first?
Okay, I'll start. Well, I was attracted to LCDS because it has a very strong technical training and also a good balance of creative side as well. So, and also that you get a lot of international students. So that's something I'm used to living in London and coming from London. So I appreciate that. Yeah. And the standard of teaching is really high, so yeah.
Well, going on what Zena said, the reason why I picked The Place is because, London Contemporary Dance School, is because, with the school they train you not just to be a dancer but also a creator or a choreographer, so you're not trained to become one or the other, but they train you to be both and intertwine it, which is pretty brilliant because, you know, in contemporary dance you want to be able to do everything. But also that attracted me to The Place was I knew that this is where it all started, so being where all the foundations started, that's pretty brilliant, and knowing that you can grow and become nurtured and go from the place that it all started and go out to the world. So yeah, that was my reason for picking The Place as well.
Well, that leads on very well to our next question, which was, as a student of LCDS, you're both following in some very large footsteps, and some big names in dance have been here before, so how does that make you feel?
Quite excited. I get to train at the same place as them, and I think it's just because this is a great school and there's a lot of things to utilise, a lot of tools, and so it's quite exciting that we can be in the same, learn in the same way, you know, but see what we take from this course for ourselves and see what we can go with that as a year and as an individual. So
I think it's also good to see, knowing that people like Richard Alston and Robert Cohen have been here, and you know Siobhan Davies, it's good to see how it differs from then to now as well. And it's also good that yes, we're in the same path and footsteps, but also they're a different journey each, because obviously the training's developed and become different now than it was them days. So it's, for me, I feel nervous because of course I've got to follow in footsteps, but also I feel, well, I'm me, and maybe I could be as big as that one day, maybe, you never know. So, yeah.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
And have you always wanted to be a dancer? Don't you?
No, before I started dancing, I actually wanted to be a drama student and then go into teaching straight away. Or I wasn't too sure if I wanted to perform or anything. But then once my friends started at the CAT scheme at Northern, I saw what they were doing, found it interesting, joined the CAT scheme, and then from there I decided that I had more passion in dance, because you could, within contemporary dance, you could fuse theatre with it, you could fuse other dance genres. So for me, I knew that finding a passion within, it's not just dance but it's art as well, so that's what made me come towards what I picked today.
Cool. I should just explain that the CAT scheme is the Centre for Advanced Training, which is a UK wide initiative, and it takes place at various different places around the country. And Zena, did you do the CAT scheme at Laban?
I started at Laban, the first year of the Laban CAT there, and
how do you feel that has sort of prepared you for coming to this?
Well, I mean, it was my first experience of dance completely, but it was, there's similar like training programs, but I mean, it's only a few times a week, and you don't get to do. It did prepare me, but I don't know, I was a lot younger at the time. But I mean, personally, I didn't always know I wanted to be in dance or be a dancer. So it took me a couple of years to kind of really make sure that I was making that decision and it was the right one. So when I was doing the CAT, I dropped out and had a gap year, and then took the time to really explore what was out there, and, you know, potentially, if that was dance as well, see what was out there in the world of dance. And so, yeah, there's lots of, you know, I think it's important to make the decision and be sure about it, and that's why I took the time to do that.
Cool. Can you explain to us, either of you, what a typical day like is at London Contemporary Dance School?
Shall I do the first half and you do the second half? Yeah, we'll do it like that. So you'll have contemporary technique and ballet technique every day, depending on what group you're in. It will depend on whether you have ballet first or contemporary first. And the contemporary varies throughout the year, so does ballet. So you'll have a different ballet teacher each term. There's 3 terms to a year. So you'll have a different ballet teacher. It may be ballet fused with contemporary, it might be just strict ballet, it might not be. And then with contemporary, this year we've got pure Cunningham for the first term. The next term we've got more of a release-based technique with Baptiste. And then we have Kate Price at the end of the year, which is like a fusion of Cunningham and release-based technique altogether.
And that Cunningham class was the one that you did, wasn't it? Which you should have seen. It was the first class that we streamed this morning, actually. So if you want to watch that and you haven't seen it already, you can go back in the stream and watch it later.
F2.
And then in the afternoon classes, you have a range. So sometimes it'll be composition, which is where you do choreography and working groups, and that's like, you know, bigger classes than different ones from the morning. And then you could do Alexander technique. We've also got cultural studies and professional studies. What else do we have?
Oh God, did you say professional studies?
Oh, and music.
Music,
really
yeah.
Interesting, actually. So yeah, it's a big range, and you know, they also. Oh, bodycons, yeah.
And anatomy. We have anatomy.
God,
there's so much.
It's spread out in the
busy.
week, and you know, you don't have like 2 bodycon classes in a row.
Well, yeah.
That would just kill you.
So, what's the highlight of your week now you're at London Contemporary Dance School?
For
Is
me,
there one?
For me, it's knowing that I've achieved what I've achieved that day. So that it's me that's worked for what I've just got. And for me, that's my biggest highlight. Coming to contemporary class is one of my biggest highlights because I enjoy contemporary the most. So I suppose in terms of technique classes, that was brilliant. But anatomy is a good thing I'm starting to really get into because it's learning about the body, and, you know, there's so much to learn about it because you are a dancer yourself. You should know about your body. So I'd say that just being here and knowing that I've came here and achieved what I've achieved for me as a dancer is probably my biggest highlight of my day. Every day, really.
Oh, brilliant.
I really like at the end of the week when, you know, you get to about Thursday and you think, I don't think I can do this anymore. And then you go, I'll come in Friday morning, and then you get through the rest of the day and you're having like a really good composition class at the end. And you don't even realise, you know, what the time is, and then you're like, oh, it's finished, and you could do it all again.
Oh,
even
no
though
one
it's
could do
so
it. Yeah.
exhausting, and I think it's like a big accomplishment, and we all kind of put each other through it together. So, yeah, just getting through a week and then looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Do either of you have a favourite class? And why is it your favourite?
I don't have a favourite class because like I'm learning something different from each of them. But I've really been enjoying music class at the moment, because we've been learning a lot about composition of, you know, of different classical music and looking into rhythms as well. And I think it's really important because I think it's quite easy to just think that, you know, dancing you can just get through counting quite simply and just relying on the music being there, but not really actually considering it and thinking about how much the importance of the roles and the connections, and you know, we have live musicians in classes, so our teachers are always kind of reminding us to, you know, think about what's going on in the corner. Don't just like pass it over as like the music coming from that space. So you're trying to work with the musicians and understand it, and the constant, you know, interlink between the two. So. It's very helpful.
I think for me, it probably would be composition. One, because Javert and Rick are just amazing, you know. And
they're your lecturers.
They're my lecturers at the moment. And there's just so much. They give you, like, you know, choreographic things, like how to choreograph and what can you do with this, how can you change this, what, you know, look at the motif, change it, or do you want to keep it the same, you know, and taking other people's perspective in or not taking other people's perspective in, depending on what you want as the choreographer. And I didn't get that a lot last year, so I think that part of my creativity is getting fed more. So therefore I'm enjoying that class the most, because I know that I'm being able to just do movement that I want to do, and it's just me. It's not anyone else's, it's mine, and I can use it. And then I can look at others and integrate their movement into it as well, and then make it my own as well. So for me, the composition is probably the one at the moment.
Brilliant. We've got a question that's just for you, actually, Ricky. And it's obviously someone who's thinking about doing dance. Did you get made fun of for being a dancer at school because you're male?
Well, I started dancing really late, so I started when I was 17. So when I was around my friends at school, I was obviously in sixth form, and no one had an opinion on it. We were a lot mature at that age. But I'd say if you are a dancer when you're younger, at my school, when I've heard of other people dancing within the school, because I mean there were people that danced outside, and I knew a few boys that did like ballet and jazz and tap and stuff like that, and no one really seemed to be bothered that much. But I think, you know, no matter what you do, if you have a love and a passion for it, don't give up. You know, never ever give up what you love the most, because at the end of the day, it's your life, and you know you want to take that forward. And you know, when you're at school, you know the people that you get stick for, or you don't, or the people that are there, they're not always going to be there for the rest of your life. So be ready for that, and just remember that dance is a passion. And even if you're not taking it to a degree, you just want to do it as a hobby, then don't forget that either, because that's what you love the most. You know, don't let that go. Yeah.
Cool. We have had another question actually via Facebook. So yeah, don't forget you can still send them in. From someone who's auditioning this year, and have you got any tips for them?
Well, when I was coming to audition, I hadn't really had any audition experience in the past, so I wanted to make myself ready for it. So I went onto the websites, like, you know, to find out about these places that I wanted to go to, you know. So I had an idea, and it wasn't just a big mystery. And that really helped, because I think you just, you know, to an extent you can only prepare yourself physically, and then, you know, mentally it's important as well. So yeah, I was on the LCDS website, and I was talking to people all the time, just people, previous students, and it was interesting, because then I kind of, you know, I got a feel for what the school was actually going to be like as well. So it wasn't, yeah, and so we were talking audition practice. I'd also say try and get as much practice as you can. So if you can go to an audition class, it's equally as important, because there's no preparing yourself for it, how it's going to be on the day, you know. It's adrenaline kicks in and all kinds of things, so yeah.
I mean, for me, in terms of audition, I mean, I auditioned here a couple of times, and it, you know, getting used to the auditions, not just here but at Northern and at the lab, and you know what kind of feel you've got to have and what kind of sense. And for the last 2 years, I went in with a different mind concept of I'm looking at everyone else, when really I should have been concentrating on me. And this year I did that, and I think that when you go into an audition, you've just got to make sure that you go in for you, and you know, you don't sit there and compare yourself. Don't look at others. Don't, you know, just be you and enjoy the day. You know, the day is there for you to use, not to look at everyone else and use your mind and everything else. So I think that being yourself and just taking the class and enjoying it, you know, that's the way you're going to get the most out of it, because you're going to be like, yes, and loving it, and you know, you're going to make it your own as well. You know, that's what they want to see, and see what you can do and show your personality in the class. So don't, you know, just go in with a strong mind. Right, I'm here, ready to go. Let's go. Let's do it.
And if you can't get like the audition practice, I think you just want to be able to be comfortable and come in and show yourself and your personality, and
definitely.
Yeah, just, you know, not be overconfident, but just be in a place where you can be comfortable and just really like soak up everything they're giving you on that day.
Sound advice, thank you. Someone has asked us after some more advice here. I find improvisation quite hard. Do you have any advice? Do you find it difficult?
Well, for me, when I first started composition, improvisation, which was 2 years ago, I did find it hard at first, but I think the more you practice it, which you will do if you're here anyway, it becomes more in you, and you let go. And I think that, you know, when something's new, it is hard for you to reach it. But when you go into an improvisation class, just don't think about boundaries. Just go in, and if you just move, and if you move, you move, and whatever happens does happen. And that's the beauty of it the most, because improvisation is about being set and it's not structured. It's about just being you and who you are, and at the end of the day, that's what it is about. And don't constantly think, you know. And sometimes in improvisation, believe it or not, being still is just as great as moving all the time. So even if you just need a moment to just like, right, I need to be here, you know, and then go again, you know, improvisation is a good tool, and the more you do it, the more you'll get used to it, and the more you'll feel comfortable with it, definitely.
Yeah, cool.
I think it's like, yeah, like you say, it's quite easy to overthink it. Like I used to, like, my just approach was, oh no, I can't do this, I have no idea, and everyone's looking at me. And it can be really stressful. I know a lot of people find it that way. So yeah, like you say, you just go into it just without any preconceptions. You know, it's so easy just to be like, okay, I know how to do these moves, I'm just gonna like reproduce this here. But what I do for myself is I like to think about moving from places that I wouldn't normally, you know, like so the backs of my arms or my neck, and not just like referring back to the dance vocabulary I already have.
Yeah. And
so making it new for yourself, new and interesting, and then it's quite interesting to see where it leads to. You won't know. So.
I have a question for you, Zena. What are the other students like on the course?
Well, I had no idea what to expect really, because when I first got here, but straight away I think, you know, I was quite astounded that everyone was so friendly and everyone was so supportive. You know, it's quite an intimate school, so you know, we know people from all the different years and the teachers, and
so I think there might be a bit of a preconception that it's a bit competitive. Did you feel that when you?
I was so shocked
were
that
going
it
to come
wasn't
here.
like that. But I mean, obviously you can have ideas that it could be, you know, worries, but it hasn't been like that at all. And I think we all kind of just want to, you know, carry each other through together. And they, all the teachers emphasise that we should support each other, because it's a hard 3 years. I think we're finding out the first term. So yeah, we really like carry each other through classes, and yeah, it's you know, amazing when that does happen. So I'm very lucky. Yeah.
Good. What are you looking forward to doing during your time at the school? So over these next 3 years, is there anything that you've got in your sights already that you can't wait for?
One is learning rep from the teachers in second year and third, and learning rep from Alston this year. I think for me it would be mainly working with guest teachers and working with the teachers that we've got here, because there's so much knowledge to gain and to absorb, and I think for me that kind of, there's so much more to experience, so it's so wide and varied. And you know, the place offer stuff like afternoon classes and workshops that they do. There's one this weekend with James Cousins. Like, those kind of things are also the things that you can take advantage of and use, because you know, they're there for you right now, so take and grab them now while you're here, and you know, you've got the money and you've got the stability to do it. So for me, it's all the experience of the, you know, teachers and classes that they've got, for me, the most. Well,
because James was a student at LCDS, so there's some of those big footprints that you're
there you go.
Sina, what about you?
I'm looking forward to the showcase. I think there's one coming up in November, where like second years and third years get to show their work, and I think a lot of the first years are in pieces as well, so that's quite exciting. And also we get to make our own work, so we have little showings in our own classes, compositions, like every 2 weeks or at the end of a class. So it's all really valuable, and it's really good, because peer learning is so important and really helpful. So yeah, just a chance to perform and more performances. We get to see so much here as well because of the Place Theatre. So companies are constantly coming in and out, which is very lucky for us. So.
And before you joined London Contemporary Art School, you came to some shows, didn't you? Some student shows.
Yeah, I did.
How was that?
That was another way of like preparing myself for the auditions. I wanted to have an idea about what the dancing was like, and so I came to see the BA3, the third year's performance, and yeah, I kind of it really affirmed for me that I mean, this is a place I could see myself studying, and you know, it was. I mean, the dancing, the standard was great, but it was just, you know, like when you couldn't see yourself on that stage yourself, and so yeah, it was so lucky. I mean, there's the Place Theatre here, and then around the corner we've got Sadler's Wells, which was amazing for international dance as well. So there's a lot at our feet.
The Barbican's not even far either, is it? Like, it's not. I walked it, and it was only half an hour or 40 minutes from here, which isn't far. So there's, you know, you're in the midst of everything.
I think it doesn't get more central for dance.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Really lucky.
We probably need to think about wrapping it up soon, but there is another question, which is, do you have a favourite choreographer, either of you?
Start with this one. Well, my choreographers have changed over years, the 2 years that I've been dancing, so I don't have one particular. I have a range of favourites, so I've got people that have come from the place like James Wilton, James Cousins, Lost Dog, which is Ben Duke and Raquel Masiga, Ben Wright.
Won the place prize.
Yeah, I won the place prize, which is pretty brilliant as well. Ben Wright, which is part of B Group, and I know he's choreographing on Edge this year as well.
Yeah,
and he's
right.
a busy man. He's a brilliant busy man. Also, I enjoy stuff from Hoffe Schechter and Akram Khan. Arthur Pitter. I prefer just a completely different range. It's nice. I mean, I do like Alston stuff as well. I mean, I'm not a very technical dancer, but it's nice to see it, and it'd be nice to be able to do it. So there's a lot of different range that I like. It's not like a set. I want this person, and that's it. It's more of a range.
I don't have a favourite. There's so much out there. There's amazing companies, but I really enjoy Yasmin Vardam and company's work because I really like the idea of mixing physical theatre with dance. So yeah, I mean, Yasmin Vardam, if you can go see some stuff, you should
do it.
I think she's a previous associate artist of the place. So
yeah,
we're in the right place.
Yeah, we're in the right place.
Okay.
We're in the place.
It's going to happen at some point. So, last question. What are your aspirations after graduating, and how will LCDS prepare you for this? And that was from someone on Facebook.
Well, I mean, going to like a vocational dance school, and I think it's common to think that, I'm just going to be a dancer and perform at the end of it. But coming here, I think you learn that there's so many other alternatives and other routes that you can go down, so it doesn't have to be a straight dance one. For example, you know, dance therapy, dance science, and you can involve yourself in all of the arts world so easily. So for me, though, personally, I've always seen myself trying to do some of my own choreography, but definitely teaching at the end of it.
For me, I want to do a varied stuff. So I do want to perform and I do want to choreograph. So obviously the place is there to make you become a performer and a choreographer. So for one, that is one main reason. And I think that because we have all these composition classes and these creativity classes and these contemporary technique, ballet technique, there's such a varied mix there that you as an artist, as a dancer, you've got a whole, and you're going to be so holistic that you're going to have a holistic approach. And for me, that means that when I finally left here and I do want to perform in a company for so many years, then I can start gaining more information from other companies. And then when I finally figure that this is the time that I want to start experimenting with movement and choreography, then I'll go into that. And obviously, that's had preparation from here, from wherever else I've been. So I think the place really prepares you in terms of even if you just want to perform or if you just want to choreograph, but they're giving you a mixture, so then you've got them foundation, those fundamentals to be anything you want. And also here, you know, they mix, like I said, they mix theatre, they mix other genres, so they're preparing you for whatever any choreographer is asking for you out there.
Because I think you can't just be a dancer these days.
No.
You know, they want everyone. The industry wants so much more from you. You know, you've got to be a conscious dancer. You've got to be thinking. You've got to be, you know, a triple threat, singing, dancing,
everything.
But it's not just that. I wasn't any of that when I came. It's just important to keep interested in other things as well. Just so you know, coming here, we learn how it all ties together. You know, like our music class relates to our
contemporary
technique classes, relates to the anatomy. So I mean, it's important to have an interest and have an understanding that dance isn't just performing and choreography. And it goes in a lot.
I think also going to see not just going to see dance, but also going to see theatre and going to see music and you know the things like that. That's gonna broaden your experience though, isn't it, as well? You know, in terms of in art form. So I think that helps you prepare for it definitely.
Okay. So, all that's left for me to say is thank you very much for watching. Thank you to Zena and Ricky. Your responses have been really great. I'm sure people have got a lot from that. Our virtual open day will continue. That's it for this morning's broadcast. We will be back at 4 o'clock with a live stream of a rehearsal with Edge, our postgraduate company, and that will also be followed by a Q&A with the company, with choreographer Yael Flexer and also artistic director Jean Yasko. So we'll see you later. Thank you.